What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's TV review of Peacock's original series, Twisted Metal. This will follow Season 2, Episode 2, which is called Dollface, and is directed by Sgriccia. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, 3 episodes this week. The second episode basically deals with nothing but the dolls camp, with John reuniting, of course, with his sister. And it's an episode that really is who is going to face in competition of the Twisted Metal competition that, of course, Calypso has put together. Basically, this episode it's pretty good. It's entertaining, but it really is, once again, just continuing the journey that will eventually lead to the competition, the car competition, battle, and stuff like that, the arena. And once again, it's allowing Quiet, it's allowing John, it's allowing his sister all to kind of reunite. It's showing us this world of the dolls themselves, and it really is just kind of a like what is going on in their worlds, like how do they react to one another. It is kind of funny. I did laugh how John and his sister, who's the main doll, basically have issues where they seem really uncomfortable around each other. They seem uncomfortable around the fact that they hug, which I thought was pretty funny. I really enjoy the simple fact that like all the dolls themselves are like really attracted to John. At first they're like kind of put off by him, but even though they ripped off his clothes and tied him up to the bed, but they're still like really attracted to him because the only guy they have is Jamie, who's like their servant or whatever. But I don't know, it's a really entertaining episode that has a lot of, meat to it when it comes to who the dolls are. They're people that were subservient to their guys in the post-apocalyptic. We take place 10 years at the beginning of this episode, 10 years prior, and we see, the main doll, the sister, introduce herself into this world of like her boyfriend or guy or whatever, meeting with these groups of other guys, and they tell the women to go to the back, and the women decide we're not going to put up with this anymore, and then they go and they murder all the men, and this is the formation of the dolls. But it really is just kind of like their encampment, what they do, how they act, what kind of fun they have, just John and Quiet having their arguments and stuff like that, and going back to what they were, and how John is so excited to see Evelyn, his car, and how it's been upgraded, and the jokes about how many people have Quiet had in this vehicle. And it's a lot of that. It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of talking. We see the world that is the dolls camp and stuff like that. We see how they paint their fingernails with bloods of rabbits and stuff like that. Once again, it just really is a way to get some development for who the dolls are, which seem to be a very important character to this world. Even though Dollface is kind of the forward-facing front, the dolls are a group of gang that are trying to help people and bring people in and become a society that is not chaotic and apocalyptic and stuff like that. But once again, it is just a lot of the dolls camp. I mean, that's all it really is. But there is another character, this young woman who is, she is one that Quiet, who finds her trying to break into a car, but she says it's her car. We find out that she's not. She's actually stealing stuff for herself that she claims is for her boyfriend, but really is for herself. And she gets tied up, and basically Quiet have kind of a developing relationship going on, but it's kind of one of those how John and Quiet were in the first season, where you're going to see them kind of become friends in a lot of respects. I think that's where it's going, to be fairly honest. The young woman, I really like her. She's like spunky and kinetic and energetic. The joke about her history with her boyfriend, who was very, very young, is pretty funny, and how they're divorced and how she married because she was on her first period. It's really wacky and really goofy and very of its type when it comes to Twisted Metal. The irreverency of what Twisted Metal is doing and how it acts is really telling when she tells that story, and how Quiet reacts to everything. I love Stephanie Beatriz and her mannerisms and how she reacts to things in TV shows and movies that she's in. But once again, it all leads to who is going to battle in the tournament. And of course, Quiet wants to battle because she wants the wish. She wants the thing that, she claims she'll help the dolls with it, but she really wants it for herself. But of course, John's going to step in because he doesn't want Quiet hurt. There is a love to the relationship. It's like a romantic love, but it's also kind of a brother-sister relationship that John has not had with his sister because he's been gone for 20 years. And how he explains to his sister how he's like a milkman delivery guy. It's really off-putting, but it's really funny. They decide they're gonna have a race. Of course, Twisted Metal can't be Twisted Metal without a race. That's what it is. So we have 4 drivers. We have Jamie, we have another driver, we have Quiet, and of course John, who we're going to drive to see who wins. And Jamie is just like a goofball. It's just funny. He like sticks up for the fact that, oh, John's up for the men, but you know, John tells him to shut the F up and stuff like that. And Jamie is just, he's kind of a incompetent goof and stuff like that. And you know, one of the girls is like, oh, he can come rub my feet again because his car stalled and stuff like that. It's pretty funny. But the race is, to be fairly honest, it's not very well constructed. It looks very cheaply done. It looks like it's, you know, the budget's very small, or it's not. It's a lot bigger than the first season, I'm guessing, but it doesn't feel like a very high stakes, very, you know, very high budgeted race. It feels very low budgeted. It feels very cheap in the aspect with the way it's shot. I do like the aspects of like the smoke flying out, like the colored smokes, and then they use paint guns to kind of like, because you know they want to like make everything harder for everyone. And then of course, as it gets closer to the end, the other driver stalls out and stuff like that, and then it's Quiet and John as you expect. But Quiet decides she's going to press the button that makes the car go fast with NOS gas or nitrous oxide gas or whatever, and she crashes into a tree, which leads to John and Quiet having to fight these like cavemen style, you know, never seen a book or watched a TV show or had the internet or something like that. And they fight them in the really cheesy cut off the head of the main guy. That's the caveman type guy or whatever. And it's really kind of, it's meant for cheese. It's meant for camp. His head, the way he's cut off and the blood squirting and stuff like that. But they tie up base again, which is pretty funny. And, you know, then they go off and are ready to fight in the tournament or drive and battle in the tournament. And of course, Quiet and John are back together again. They leave the encampment so that his sister, John's sister, and the crew can keep doing what they're doing. And then we see Dollface, of course, has escaped again. She's in the back of the trunk because we see her shirt kind of be pulled in. And then we go to this asylum, which I'm sure is part of the lore of Twisted Metal. And like I said, it's been a while since I played the games. But we are introduced to Mr. Grimm, which is a character from Twisted Metal. And he's been in this prison asylum for quite a while with his scruffy beard. But he's given the invitation to the Twisted Metal games. And he decides he's going to go for it. And it goes to credits. That's the end of the episode. So we're introduced to Mr. Grimm, who's a new character who is now in the tournament. But that's pretty much the episode, to be fairly honest. There's really not much more than that. It's basically, once again, it's episode 2 of 12 episodes or 10 episodes, whatever it is at this point. So it's one of those things where I forgive it for, at least it's entertaining. It's unlike, like I said, if you ever watch my reviews of Murderbot, this feels fully complete. It feels like a full episode. It doesn't feel like a third of a continuing episode. It feels like a actual episode. So I forgive it for not giving us a whole bunch of stuff, but giving us John and Quiet getting back together again, which is what this show entails and what it has set up. And yeah, that is episode 2, is Dollface. With my overall arching feeling of this episode, I think it's good. I think it's entertaining. I think it has a lot of potential for where the series is going. And once again, outside of the race, which feels very low budgeted, it doesn't feel very like it has a lot of money behind it. It's a really well put together episode. It's funny, it's entertaining, there's laughs, there is actual heart to the episode. I think John and his sister do a pretty nice job of what they're doing. And I think Quiet and John have good chemistry together. I think they work well. I think Stephanie Beatriz and Anthony Mackie know what they're into and what the story is. And yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting kind of look what episode 3 is going to entail, which I'm hoping really gets into what the tournament is, but I think it's going to be more of the same. So I think the tournament is going to get into like halfway through the season, to be fairly honest, but we'll see how that plays out. So with that said, that is episode 2, Dollface. For my final score, I'll give it, let's do an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's perfectly good. It just, that race isn't very good, so I think that's why it makes it 8.5 out of 10. But it's been pretty good. I think it's been a pretty strong season so far, so there you go. Anyways, with that said, thank you so much for watching my review of Season 2, Episode 2 of Twisted Metal, which is Dollface. I do appreciate it. In the comments below, what do you think of this episode? What do you think overall of the introduction of Mr. Grimm? What do you think about the Dolls Camp? All that good stuff. Let me know why. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like the video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you for the 3rd episode of Twisted Metal. Peace out, guys.